And we are back with another bonus episode. Guys, we have Dakota here from the Chicago Women's Sports Club, who I am so excited to have on the show. Dakota, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my gosh, no, thank you. This is like the treat of all treats. I am so grateful.
Well, we are so glad to have you. Dakota, do you want to take a second and kind of just introduce yourself, how you got into like the sport world, favorite niches of the sport world,
Oh my
kind
gosh.
of just the Dakota world?
Absolutely. My treasure trove of niches. Yes. Okay. So my name is Dakota. I am a dual master student in sports psychology as well as mental health counseling. So that's kind of like where I exist in the sport world. I work on a lot with a lot of athletes just about mental health, both on and off the field, because as we know, it is just as important as a rolled ankle in the grand scheme of things. As far as where my sports, I mean, I just feel like sports have been in my world like as soon as I could walk, right? I grew up having ESPN on in the background at all times. I had an unhealthy obsession with Dustin Pedroia from the Red Sox. He kind of like occupied a lot of part of my brain for the majority of my life and still does to this day because I have a signed baseball above me currently from him. I've loved sports for forever. I love the minutia of sports. I love the way it brings people together. I love that it gives a foundation of connection, regardless of who you root for. I mean, it's just something that people can really always connect on when it feels like there's not a lot of things to connect on in this world right now. So it's always been something I find and hold really near and dear. As far as the Chicago Women's Sports Club, its inception has been really organic, and it's been such a treat to watch people be excited about it. It felt like it exploded as soon as the idea came to be. It felt like everyone was so excited to have it. And what's so cool is that it's not like it's the only women's organization that prioritizes sport in Chicago by any stretch. In fact, it's joining a large league of other amazing organizations. It just felt like, to me, there was an opportunity to widen the space, and why not if we can? It felt like there was an opportunity to just open that door even wider, and I wanted to help do so. And so it's just been really fun. We have so many exciting things, including you teaching a hockey class. And I'm so grateful. I think it's just going to be so fun because, and we've kind of talked about it, hockey can sometimes feel like a little bit must be this tall to ride in order to get your foot in the door to have that conversation and watch and enjoy and, understand what's going on.
Definitely agree with that. And that's kind of why we break things down on the show, whether it's kind of like explaining things or truly like we have a whiteboard of the ice and we kind of just like break down plays and stuff. And we're like, this is why this matters. But yeah, I mean, even I, of course, saw it on TikTok and I was like, this is the greatest thing I have ever seen. Because have the Hockey Princess show. Hockey's been my number one. But we dabble with motorsports and baseball as well. But there's sports where it's like, I have no idea. I don't know how football works. I don't know how basketball works. I know I love the WNBA, like being here in Chicago, but I'm like, I don't know how things work. This is fantastic. Because there's
Yeah.
going to be, on the flip side, somebody else that will be able to teach me about things.
Exactly. And people love to teach. Like I think when you learn from someone who loves what they love, like you can kind of feel it. And so I think that's why it's gonna be so amazing having you teach the hockey class and really give this intro to, hey, this is like the 411 on what's going on here. Cause all I know is I love Landeskog and I really like an Avalanche jersey. Like I like the colors. That's like all I've got.
When you sent me that, I was like, green flags all around because Landeskog is
I
like
love that man, and I'm like, that's all I need to know. That's like, and I feel really comfortable with that knowledge, but I'm also like, I could stand to stretch that a bit.
okay. Because I also love Landeskog. I learned about Landeskog from my first fantasy hockey team
Oh
and
my gosh.
have been in love since. Why Landeskog?
You
Like,
know,
what is the lore?
you know what? And that's a great question. I honestly don't even know if there was like a beginning to my love with like I just feel like he's always been there. So I'm originally from Colorado, so I love the Avalanche in theory of just nativity,
Okay.
but I think lore, my dad always had this thing where it was we will always like the player regardless of the team he plays for. This mostly made sense for Red Sox versus Yankees because as you know, large rival, or maybe not, but large rivalry between the two.
Yes.
And there was a player named Derek Jeter. And I will never forget when he first like came on screen, I guess. And I was like, boo. I'm like looking at my dad. I'm like, check this out. I'm nailing it. You know, I'm going, boo. And he's like, oh, no, 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 no. He's a really good guy. Like we like Derek Jeter. And it was such a flip of switch because and a good reminder to fans everywhere that they are people after they,
Yes.
exit our view, and it's important to treat them as such. And B, he said, we will always like the player over the team he plays for. And so I remember when I think like maybe it was like a 30 for 30 or ESPN was doing some sort of player highlight spotlight, and it was on Landeskog. And they were just talking about how, his family and like a lot of amazing work. He actually did a lot of amazing charity work in Colorado. And just how well he spoke of his teammates. You could really tell that he felt was such an integral part of their cohesion. And I think that's just such an incredible role many players try to take on. And he does it so successfully and so seamlessly. And so that was why I always liked Landeskog. And I actually have a signed jersey from him. So I hold that near and dear.
Amazing. I'm assuming you've watched the episode of Face Off that he's on.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Amazon Prime. So they essentially there's a show on Netflix called Drive to Survive, and it goes through like Formula One teams and stuff like that. But NHL did like their version with the same producers, and it's called Face Off, and it's like 6 episodes. Usually they tie like 2 to 3 players per episode, but Landeskog has like an entire episode, and it's at like post injury, him with the family, kind of like balancing that, and fantastic behind the scenes stuff. And his kids are so stinking cute.
Oh, so cute. I'm like on my Instagram, I'm just like, share, repost. Thank you for sharing. I'm commenting. I'm like a weirdo. I comment on like so many players. I'm just like, thank you for sharing. Really like this one. Just like very weird mom Facebook comment.
Excellent picture.
Excellent. Really like the second one. Like, hi.
At least you're positive. Like in the world of sports with fans kind of crossing the line in terms of like doing too much,
Oh my gosh. Listen, I'm on Reddit sports pages. If you want to see like some really crazy, but you know what? Then there's like nuggets of like complete like wisdom, and you're just like, you got to parse through it. It's like TJ Maxx. You just got to keep looking.
Okay, so you're from Colorado. Then what is the Red Sox tie?
My dad is like a 10th generation Vermonter. So he basically like I had a Red Sox cap and a Patriots jersey thrown on me at like, year 2. And it's been a road. I think being a Patriots fan is one of the more like controversial things about me, honestly. Living through Deflategate was a personal pain. I have my own theories about what actually happened, but most don't want to know that. It's just that, look, the Patriots, it's football, and there's always going to be something different and dynamic. I am happy to know that there's a different gate taking over now that Spitgate has become an issue. You saw this, no?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It was the Cowboys-Eagles opening game on Thursday. And it was also like NFL opening game. So like, this is like start your engine situation.
Right.
And essentially what we originally saw was that Jalen Carter spit on Dak Prescott, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Which is like gross, hate that, unsportsmanlike, right? However, what we're finding out now is that Dak spit first. So now they're coining it as Spitgate, which I'm hoping eventually takes over the formerly known Deflategate, which was the Patriots controversy.
Y'all, can we just keep our bodily fluids to ourselves? I think
like that should go without saying. It's just like, hello, spitting?
Yeah.
Like, are we 5 years old? And it's also, truth be told, it's such a bummer of a way to start a season. Like, just when it comes to like sportsmanship, it should be one of those things that like goes without saying. However, we know, I mean, look, feelings fly. Everyone's operating at a really heightened state. Like, we understand things happen. Spitting feels low.
Yeah, oddly enough, that feels like too much. But when Brad Marchand was licking people on the Boston Bruins, that I'm just like, Sure, he's quirky.
Yeah, like it's hard, right? It's like, what do we consider too much? And I think it was hard because I think it just was like it caught everyone off guard.
Mhm.
And also, not to say that like being a rookie is an excuse, but neither of them are rookies. So it just kind of felt out of character for both. Like it just was like, we're spitting? What's happening? And mind you, it was 6 seconds into the first quarter. Like the game hadn't even really happened. Like this is how the game starts. This is how NFL opening. I'm just like, ooh, hello.
This is weird.
Yeah,
Very weird.
yeah.
Very,
So we're
very
tone for the
weird.
rest of the game for sure.
Oh, very interesting. Okay. Hello, friend.
Yeah, get a kitten. This is Steven.
He's perfect.
He's perfect, Boba.
Is that the one that really likes to be the center of attention? Or
Yeah,
everybody does?
yeah. If there's a spotlight, he'll find it.
Well,
Now that
he is orange.
he is orange and he acts like it. Like that man, he is running into everything at all times at full speed. So talk to me, how did you get into hockey? Like where was the birthplace of your love?
Similar to you being thrown on a
Yeah,
jersey and a hat, it was very much so my co-star is my dad. We're a father-daughter show.
amazing.
And it was just from the get-go. Like other parts of my family were definitely into hockey as well, like hockey
Mhm.
and baseball or hockey and football. But my dad's very much the like hockey person, and it wasn't even like a question of like when you will get into it. Like
Mhm.
my first game, I wasn't even a year old. It was kind of just like, no, you're going.
Yeah.
Um, so I just grew up with it. And then being a kid when the beginning of the Chicago dynasty,
Amazing.
starts to unfold, like what 10-year-old is not going to watch Patrick Kane and Jonathan Daves? Like it was kind of just a given.
Oh,
Um, so that kind of fueled everything. And then the rabbit hole was very, very quick
yeah.
on just being into it. And now it's kind of just my main thing. But yeah, it was very much like there wasn't a moment where I was like, "Oh, I'm into this." There were definitely, like, games that I've been to where I was like, "This is the craziest thing I have watched."
No.
But it was kinda just like, yeah, like, going to the hockey games is just a normal thing that the family does.
I love that. And I think like what's amazing is like we are both so blessed in that we were given the opportunity to love sports at a young age, especially in a safe space to do so, right? With someone who loves us, who wants us to learn, who wants us to be in these spaces. And then I think about like, oh, if you didn't have that opportunity, if you weren't given that gift, it can feel like the sports world feels like this big giant box of scary. And so I felt like with like Chicago Women's Sports Club, I wanted to meet on both ends. Like I wanted people who similar to us kind of come in with this like hyper niche, hyper specific, really like just genuine obsession,
Yeah.
as well as hey, hi, and hello. This is an incredibly new world for me, but I want to be a part of it, but I don't know where to start. And when I go to a sports bar, I have like five guys yelling at me to name five players, and that's very scary to me. And we can it's silly to say it, but it's silly because we've all experienced it. That's
It's
why it's the joke.
It's all happened. There's been times where, my dad and I have like gone to different places, like followed the team or whatever, and we've like run into people that fully like we'll have a full-on conversation with him. I will say one thing and they're like, "Yeah, whatever." And then he'll say the exact same thing and they're like, "Oh my God, that's so smart. You're so right." And he's like,
Yeah,
"My daughter just said that 30 seconds ago."
it's
Um,
incredibly insulting, point blank period.
it's very insulting. And that yeah, so we are very, very fortunate. We're also, I think, very fortunate to, like, be getting into a sport that you actually like. Like, my dad could have been a massive football person. I don't know if football would have been my cup of tea because I like
Yeah,
things that are just, like, a little bit faster, like hockey and motorsports and stuff like that, where it's very quick pace. Um or who knows, maybe it has become my hyperfixation because it has been with me my entire life, and it's just like, "No, this
yeah.
is just something that we love. This is what we yap about twice a week on the show."
Yeah, it's incredible, and I think what was great is, like, giving a space for people to like find someone if they don't feel like they have that. Like maybe it's just their partner that they can talk to, and that's great. However, it's good to like, let's expand that circle so you feel like you have other places to, nerd out with or learn, whatever, pick your poison.
Exactly. Was there like a moment or like a period of time that you can like pinpoint was the inception of the Chicago Women's Sports Club? Like, were you watching something, having a conversation with people, and you're like, I need to do this?
You know what? Actually, there literally is a moment, and it's funny because it was on TikTok. I had posted, so I have like the two accounts. I have like my sports account, then I have just like my personal one. And
Yeah.
on the sports one, I had like, gosh, like 4 months ago, I had posted like something about how I wish there was like a an idea of like women's Chicago Women's Sports Club. Like it was a really offhanded. It was not specific. I just was like, oh gosh, like I wish this existed, right?
Yeah.
And people were like in the comments like, we should start that, we should start that, which is like how most things, oh, we should do this, and then the next thing that we should do comes along. So anyway, it kind of died in the comments, moved on, life happened, school was coming back up, yada yada yada. And a woman DM'd me literally, this has been alive for like a month.
Yeah.
DM'd me about a month ago, and she goes, hey, I don't know if you ever ended up starting this, but if you did, I'd really love to join. This is like something that I like have always wanted, and I just like think like if you ended up starting it, please let me know. I want all the details. And I remember I responded. I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? I didn't, but I will today. And that was the start.
Shout out to a TikTok DM. We love
Yeah,
it.
shout out to a TikTok DM that is like quite lit. It just kind of kicked my butt. It's that I was like, okay, if one person wants it, there's got to be more,
Definitely. What I imagine that, like, the general reaction has been pretty, like, positive with creating this, but what has been kind of the reaction that you've been getting from other people?
I think just genuine excitement. I think like because it's a little bit because it's in a sense just very casual, and it's really for me like it's the basis and foundation of it is finding community. So
Mhm.
I think what's been really fun is I'm watching like there was an event not yesterday, last Thursday, September 4th, with the drive. They invited some of the girls to get together, and I was getting DM because I was out of town, and I was getting all these DMs from the girls who were at this event being like, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun. Oh my gosh, I've made new friends, blah, 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 blah. Like the creator of the game sat with the girl, like, and it was just so cool to watch from afar. And like, that was like, that's the whole point is I want this community. I want people to walk away going, I got a friend out of this. Like, that's really what I want. And I like or with find your football, find your hockey. I sent out the initial and I can explain it. So basically I
Yeah.
had everyone fill out a form on the website. Also learning how to make a website. Very cool. That was
It's
hard.
it's
That
fun, but then you get to the point where you're just like, "This is the
I'm
most
like, why
difficult
won't it
thing."
click? And then I realized like I'm on a completely different screen. I digress. I made Find Your Football originally where I had people fill out a form, and in the subject line, they would tell me what their football team of choice is. And then I made a massive Excel spreadsheet where I had everyone's name and email with the team that they rooted for. Then, after about 2 weeks, I sent out group messages, including every single person who chose that team, so that they now have a group of girls to go watch their team of choice together with. Because again, going back to, I want there to be these like pared down the groups so that they have the opportunity. That's not just waiting for, each meeting, which happens only once a month. Right. And so now I've made it for Find Your Hockey, Find Your WNBA, Find Your NBA. And that's going to take a little bit more. I'm biting quite a bit off. However, it's just been really, that's been the most fun is watching these email threads of girls being like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I'll be here. And like, making dates to watch games and getting excited and watching just like the fusion of conversation that's just been like such a gift.
I love the idea. When I saw Find Your Football, I immediately told my dad, my co-star, I was like, because he's like, what do you like, what is the group that you're teaching a lesson with? Like, explain this whole thing to me. And I was explaining Find Your Football, and he's like, this is the greatest thing. Like, I wish we had this. Like, and I think what I like about, like, the find your football and find your hockey and find your other sports is, like, yes, you could meet them organically at the meetings, but it's kind of intimidate like, even if you're an extra like, identify as, like, an extroverted person, it's intimidating to go around and talk to truly everyone to make plans and, like, maybe you guys, like, aren't at the same meeting, so it's like, you could have a meeting where you're like, you're the only insert a sports team fan there, and you're like, "Okay,
And
cool. I
listen,
made other friends, but I still don't have friends to watch my games with."
well, and here's the truth is there was like there's about 3 girls who were the only people who chose from their team, but I put them together. I said, "Hey, you guys are unique and you're gonna have a lot of fun. And here's now 3 teams you can root for." Because I was like, I'm not gonna just like leave them out. But that happens. Sometimes you're the only Seahawks fan in Chicago, and we're gonna find you another one eventually.
There's people are always moving, so
People are
we'll
always moving. People love Chicago. They're moving to Chicago.
definitely. What are what's been your biggest, like, surprise with creating this?
I think just as how many people have reached out to want to be involved? Like that has been such an incredible surprise. I've already met with like probably like 5 people who want to either host or want to be involved to a certain degree, want to teach a class. I have a meeting with this group called Teasers who just launched a sports betting app. And I'm having them teach a class on sports betting because that is, and it's not because I want necessarily people to start getting really into sports betting. That's actually not the goal. However, I feel like language like the over under, what's the line, things to that degree often malign women out of the conversation, whether that's intentional or not. That's just type of language. That's the type of jargon that, like, to me, I want to avoid because it doesn't make sense to me. So I'm having them teach a class on that because I'm thinking, how many times have you tried, like, I've asked my partner how, like, a myriad of times of, hey, what does that mean? And for the life of me, I just don't get it. I also just think he's bad at explaining things. 2 things can be true. And then,
Definitely. I feel
listen,
like even if and I'm not a particular sports betting person, but I feel like sports betting's getting like, becoming more advertised in,
it's
like,
everywhere. It's
just games,
everywhere.
like, we
It's in the ESPN app. It's in the app. Like it's like, hey, this is who the odds are to win. And also here's like 15 percentages. And I'm like, when did we all get into math? I didn't get into math.
no math here, just my math is my reading my stats.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like because it's, like, advertised during Blackhawk games, and whether or not you want to partake in it, I don't like seeing things on the screen and being like, "I have no idea what any of this means."
Yeah. And it's again, it goes back to it's like whether that's intentional or not, it's not really the question. But like I just feel like there's not really a safe space to learn about that short of Googling it by myself. Right. So again, going back to your original question, like the biggest surprise and the biggest like pleasantry of it all has really been seeing how many people reach out to be a part of it, to support it, to be really integral pieces to it versus just joining a meeting. But all are welcome, of course. It's just like it's been really cool. Just how many people want to like really support it, like in a, from the ground up.
Yeah, I was excited. I was like, "Shoot, if I get to, like, hold a door open and help check people in at an event," I'm like, "Sign me up. I'm all in."
Yeah. Well, especially because I mean, like women in sport, like I think that's also what's going to be really fun. I have a gal who works for the Pistons on the business side of things, so I'm hoping she could teach or just share her experiences and working on that side of sport. Because I think a lot of women want to work in sport, but maybe they only see it like in certain facets, like on the field stuff, photography, media, whatever that looks like to them. But really showing, hey, this is how you get into this side of things, I think would be incredibly valuable.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, gosh, I'm just so excited for, like,
It's
the
gonna
first
be so
meeting and for the
cool.
class and for everything. Also because, like, selfishly, my class coincides with the beginning of the season, and so I'm just like,
Yes.
"This is great."
Yes, yeah, plug right here. We're having a hockey class. Everything you need to know about this NHL season, taught by yours truly, the hockey princess.
Me. Um, we will not be getting too nerdy in this class, but plenty nerdy, nerdy enough.
Those will be
Um,
that's like for the 400 level classes that we will be just like we'll be presenting later. You must
yes.
pass this class. Just kidding. No grades, promise.
No grades, definitely,
Yeah.
I can pull one off the wall. No grades. There will be a myriad of friendship bracelets because
Oh,
that is
that's
what I
gonna be
do when I
amazing.
like film and do research for the show is okay, now I can't get that back on the wall without standing up. So it's just gonna lay right there.
Love it.
No, I love my friendship bracelets while creating the show. So there will be nerdiness and friendship bracelets.
Perfect. The perfect mix.
What are kind of like what is next? I know we have like a lot of things like on the plate, but what is like next short term for Chicago Women's Sports Club and what are kind of your like long term I eventually want this club to look like this?
Oh, that's such a great question, and honestly, one that I've really been just rambling around in my brain. I think short term, I don't know if this is necessarily short term. What would be really incredible is that we could get on a really set schedule for the monthly meetings. Right now, I have 3 meetings ready to rock and roll, so we're good till November, right? And I just think what would be really great is that if I could get into a place with the club that, like, whether it's a location that feels like they want to support us once a month and is like down to host and become more of like a concrete schedule there, that would be incredible. Just so that people don't have to like consistently, go to the page, go to the website to, where's Waldo the next meeting, essentially. So that would be really incredible. It also just like makes it feel a little bit more just cemented in the space, right? Like that, I think if we could get into a place where it's very routine, it's very scheduled, there is a meeting once a month, it'll always be here. Like that would be really awesome. So that's my short-term goal. I long term, I don't really have a clear answer right now. Yeah, it would be cool if like we see this like pop up in other cities. Honestly, my long-term goal is that if people feel like they had one opportunity to learn something and feel welcome in a space of sport, then everything I could have ever wanted is answered.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Then my job, then everything I could have wanted with this club is done. If someone was like, I learned something, I felt welcome, I felt safe, period, end of story.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is gonna be so fun.
It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be fun. Sports are fun.
Sports are fun, and we're inviting.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Like, and you don't have to perform. You don't have to feel like there's no mask involved here. It's really just like come as you are, come as whatever fan you need to be or want to be.
Yes, because all fan levels are valid. I'm a
Exactly.
very firm believer of
And
that.
you don't have to prove it, just really eliminating that need to feel like you need to prove something is, I think, one of like my biggest goals.
We're eliminating name 5 players.
Yes. Yes.
That is the goal of
Yeah,
this group is just
exactly.
eliminating name 5 players.
Oh, so annoying.
But all fan levels are valid because even for me, like there's definitely sports where it's like I am a diehard about this, and then there's ones where it's like I'm kind of a passive watcher. Like for baseball, I am a Yankee fan. I will put on the pinstripes when they come into town, but that is way too many games for me to watch in an entire season.
Exactly. I know it really, and that's why we have Lexi Leeser hosting a baseball. She's posting a class on like, hey, everything you need to know about because I was like, I want it to be about baseball, but I specifically asked her, I was like, hey, can you also like tell people what to know about the World Series? Because that's coming up. And I'm going, I don't know what's happening. I just keep saying that they're playing. I'm like, are they playing again? And 4 games, yeah, like you said, it's like, somewhere around like 1,000 games. I don't know.
It's a crazy amount of games, and I'm like, I will follow to a point, but that is just way too many games for me to watch. Also, I just feel like sports in itself, unless you're like fortunate enough to like live in the city for the team that you cheer for,
Yeah.
that's a lot money wise because they're not necessarily the most accessible in terms of like watching them on TV. So some teams, I'm just like, you know what? I will keep track. I will watch occasionally, but I cannot get another subscription.
No, oh my gosh. I'm like, stop it. I thought you said this was the subscription to end all subscriptions. Like, no, this isn't. And I'm like, red TV, red football, I'm like, stop it. I can't buy another. Like, I have lost track of all the subscriptions I have. I have like Sunday ticket. I have Tuesday ticket. I should have a ticket to the entire week at this point. Give it to me. Like, this is so crazy.
Yeah, that's one of my we talked about this on the show last week. One of my favorite things to like the NHL in itself, like, of course, every team has their different subscription, but a lot of the minor leagues are kind of all under the one big conglomerate network where it's like you can watch 10 leagues and either do like a monthly subscription or I do like it's like 150 for the year,
Amazing.
which not bad at all. But I'm like,
Yeah.
this is what it needs to be. Just I will pay too much money so I can watch everything instead of trying to like keep track with oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
gotta watch this game. I gotta watch this game. I gotta watch this game. It's like, no. And then half of them are blacked out anyway.
You literally well, that's why I attempted to find a sports bar for every single NFL team that like supports them. Cause in theory, that means they should have access to whatever crazy Sling TV, Pluto, Fubo, whatever it is. In theory, they should have the access point so that people could like, it's like Tin Lizzy's a Lions bar. So I'm like hoping whatever the Lions are playing, they have access to that. Of course, then I like found out like 3 of the bars I put out are like haven't been open since 2019. And I was like, okay, well, not my fault they haven't updated their Instagram. But
I
that's
saw that in the comments.
I was like, what are you talking? Then I'm like mortified. I'm thinking, oh gosh, I've just like, hey, everyone, come here. And then I'm showing them a closed bar. Ugh.
No, I saw that when
You have to go to a closed bar. Like, oh goodness.
what is she talking about? No, I saw that because I had posted for the Reveler because they're an Eagles bar, but I know them because they do Formula One watch parties during races. But I know that like, so I was like, this is another Eagles bar to any other Eagles fans because I used to live with like a ton of Eagles fans.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know at least that. And then I saw the closed ones and I was like, oh no, we got to find more.
Yes. No, so I used to work at Rebel and Rye, which is the sister bar of the Reveler. So we would just like, I mean, the Eagles moms I had to make. It's I can never look at those again.
No, that's fair. The spinach artichoke dip though, unreal.
Fine. So good. So good. Rebel and Rye was funny because it didn't have food. They just had a popcorn machine and I would walk home and I just had popcorn everywhere.
Mm.
So not my favorite experience, however, lovely establishment.
Yeah, that feels like that would get old, at least like the popcorn aspect very quickly,
Yeah.
especially like during game days.
Yeah. I mean, the food fights. People, if there's something about popcorn that makes people very 5 years old again. Some like suddenly someone has popcorn in their hand and they're like, I think I should toss this. And I'm like, stop it. Like,
Do
what
you
if I
want to
just
clean it up? Otherwise, no.
No. Don't make that work.
Like,
Yeah.
just give them the broom. Like you can throw it, but you have to sweep it up.
No,
'Cause I'm
literally.
not doing that.
Exactly. No, they thought it was incredibly funny and no one ever actually everyone would laugh. So they were right.
All right, Dakota, one final thing. I know we've talked about many different events that are kind of like in the pipeline. We got the baseball, we've got sports betting, we've got my class. Is there anything at final that you would like to kind of like take a moment to plug with what's coming up next?
Absolutely. Honestly, it's not necessarily a plug. It's just it's a call to action. This is a collaborative club. I want that just to be really clear is that this is, yes, it's me, one woman showing it. However, to me, it's every person who wants to be a piece of it is. If you have suggestions, if you have ideas, if there's any part of it, like just know that I am always available. I am an access point. DM me, call me, beat me if you want to reach me at any for anything. I just really want this to feel like a space where people can build ideas, ask questions, learn something new, or contribute in whatever capacity they'd like to.
Amazing. Super amazing. Well, Dakota, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm just like we've said throughout the show, I'm very excited for the meetings. I'm very excited for my class. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you. This has been such a treat and I'm just so excited. I'm so grateful. So thank you so much for having me and giving me a space to talk about it.
Of course. And folks, that is all. And we will talk to you guys next week.